Another tough game is on the card for the Tigers, but hopefully they can turn around what has been a poor run of form recently. Hello there and welcome back to the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel, where today I'll be giving you my preview, prediction and everything that you need to know ahead of Hull City's trip to Stoke to face off against Stoke City in the Championship. A Stoke City side which are currently second in the league. They are running high on what has been a very, very good start to the season for them. They've only conceded 12 times this season, which is the lowest goals against for any team in the league so far. Whereas Hull City have got one of the leakiest defences in the league, and that has been the real reason why Hull City have lost 3 out of the last 5 games, 2 on the bounce heading into this one, and hoping for a big shake-up in all aspects, both attacking and defensive wise. There is some news to report on players returning as well, so plenty to get into. So let's get started with, of course, our injury updates. So some positive news. John Lundstram will be in the squad for this one. He wasn't going to be risked on Tuesday night to face off against Ipswich Town at the MKM Stadium. This was the official report coming into the game, although it was reported earlier on a couple of weeks back that the Ipswich Town game was his destined return point. He's been back in training. Everything seemed good on that point. Even Sergei Kirich went as far as saying it's actually been a surprise to see how good John Lundstram is. That sort of reminder, refresher, because he's been out of action for 8 weeks now. So I suspect it'll be a bench appearance for John Lundstram tomorrow for the away trip to Stoke City in that 12:30 kickoff. He probably will get some minutes, but once again, as Hull City are seeing that with pretty much every person that's coming back from a lengthy absence, they are going to take it slow. They're going to slowly build them up rather than just chuck them in at the deep end and then risking getting more injuries and putting more setbacks onto players that are top quality for this Hull City squad. Alongside top quality, we're going to talk about Ollie McBurnie and Liam Miller. Both of them are destined to make their return in Hull City's next match. This Stoke City game was the preliminary sort of return date for Ollie McBurnie. It's not seeming that's going to be the case. He is back in training. Everything's looking good on that standpoint. Both him and Liam Miller are expected to have a full week of training ahead of them and then return back to action for next weekend's fixture, which I believe is a Friday night fixture at the MKM Stadium, which will be destined to be the return point if all things go well. No further setbacks for both Ollie McBurnie and Liam Miller, 2 key players to return back to Hull City's squad. So everything is looking good on all standpoints like that point. Of course, Matt Crooks, he's back in the squad for this one. He wasn't injured for the last game. He just served a little bit of a absence due to picking up 5 yellow cards already this season, and so he had his 1 match suspension, but he's back available in contentions for this one, alongside Cody Drammer, who featured towards the end of the game, I believe, on Tuesday night. He will not be in contentions, I don't believe, for this one. They're going to be taking it a little bit steady with him. I think he's picked up a little bit of something to do an injury-wise in training on Thursday, so it's going to be a bit of a touch and go on that. I doubt that they'll risk him, and anyway, if they do, he'll probably be a bench appearance, and then if it does come down to it and he does desperately need to get on the pitch, he'll be used as a substitute, but I suspect it'll be a bench appearance at most for Cody Drammer, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's not included in the squad at all. So that's all injury news to report wise on Hull City. Things are starting to look gradually better, and hopefully that is then going to be replicated into some performances for this squad. So, Hull City predicted starting 11, powered by friends over at Fanhub. This is what I think Sergei Kirich will roll out for this game to try and stop the bleeding. As I said, it's a very, very strong squad, this Stoke City squad. They're scoring goals at an alright rate, but the defence is even stronger, and boasting as well with what has been the most consistent, if not the best goalkeeper in the Championship for like the past 3 seasons. So it's certainly going to be a tough test for Hull City, especially after having a bit of a miss on the attack point of view on Tuesday night, and the defence has been all shades of complicated this season, having good spells and having some not so good spells as we have seen recently. So I think it will be Ivo Panda between the sticks. Really no other option, although some fans are saying that maybe he should be sold because he made 1 mistake. But every keeper can make mistakes but he made some fantastic saves alongside it. So Evil Panda is the man for me between the sticks. A back line up of a back four for this one. Could possibly have gone to a back five to try and change up and get more defensive security into that. But I think we're going with that. You're taking away from the attack, and the attack was a big point of view that was letting down on Tuesday night. So certainly going one or the other isn't really going to help. So Louis Coyle will start the game in that right back position, following up with two centre-halves in John Egan and Charlie Hughes. And then over at left back, it will be Ryan Giles. Ahead of them, it will be Regan Slater and Amir Hadzaimitrovic. I believe that when John Lundstram is back to starting fitness, it'll be Amir Hadzaimitrovic who'll possibly be dropped to the bench in replace of that. But of course, it could be Matt Crooks, who we're not sure if he's still needing this surgery on his torn pectoral muscle or what is going on there. But I think he'll be starting back into this one following his one-game suspension last time out. So, of course, John Lundstram can fit in anywhere really in that sort of midfield trio. You maybe wouldn't like to see him play more attackingly, but if he comes in from Matt Crooks, you could see Regan Slater playing that more attacking role that Matt Crooks has been playing. Alongside that will be Joe Geldhart, who'll be looking to keep on bouncing on the goals that he's been scoring for Hull City this season. Currently the team's top scorer in the Championship, and I think in fact all competitions for the Tigers this season. Alongside Kyle Joseph, of course, will still be looking to try and get himself on the score sheet as he always does. And then leading the line, it'll be Ennis the Menace Destan up top for the Tigers, of course, filling in the role until the likes of Ollie McBurney is back to full match fitness. So some other news for the Tigers. No real news really to report since last time we spoke. Only been some positive news on the standpoint of Joe Geldhart. He is seeming more and more likely as the time is progressing that Hull City will be going in to get that permanent deal done in the summer. Of course, that's the only point that they can get a permanent deal done with the current fee restrictions, embargo, stuff that has been going on since the summer passed. So it won't be able to be done in the January transfer window, permanent transfer, but in the summer he will be. So it's more of a case of trying to get through this January transfer window without Leeds recalling Joe Geldhart and sending him off somewhere else. But he's seeming to want to stay at the club, and the club are ever present to try and lock down Joe Geldhart as a player for the future and for the current Tigers squad. So, the last meetings between Hull City and Stoke City. Well, it's been a bit of a touch and go time between Hull and Stoke as of recent form. In the last 4 games, they haven't actually drawn a match, so it's expected to be quite a nice thriller. This one, of course, both teams doing all right in the league. Stoke City, of course, doing far better than Hull City. Currently 5 points above them, sitting in second, but we'll talk about that in a second. Hull City have done quite well in recent years in the trips to the Bet365 Stadium. They've in fact actually won the last 3, I think, away trips, 3 or 4 away trips to Stoke, whereas at our ground, Stoke City have had our number. But luckily, we are away this time out, so we'll see if that plays into Hull City's hands. Stoke City certainly have got a bit of a better record against Hull City, as I said, in recent years. So, progressing on into form-wise, well, both teams have had a little bit of a touchy time as of recent. Of course, Stoke City have had some tough games in there. To be fair, Hull City have as well, with a couple of high-rising teams in the league. You're looking at Derby, you're looking at QPR, you're looking at Ipswich. Certainly, Ipswich and Derby have both been bounding up the league. And this is Stoke City side as well that we will be facing again in, I believe, a month's time back at the MKM Stadium. Stoke and Middlesbrough are the sides currently second and third, and then we play them both again in the same order, return fixtures, of course, in a month's time. So that's sort of how the fixtures have lined up for us this season, which is seeming to be a little bit of a pain in the side. So hopefully we can do the job over them now and see what happens in a month's time when we face off against them at the MKM Stadium. But for Stoke City, they just recently had a nice 3-0 win against Charlton Athletic, as Charlton Athletic side that have had a few bad results in a row. I believe it was a 5-1 loss to Southampton and a 3-0 loss to Stoke City on the bounce for them. But some alright results mixed in there. Big 5-1 win result against Bristol City. 3-0 win against Oxford United. And then some tough games there against Leicester City and Coventry City mixed in there. So it's certainly going to be a very interesting one. And hopefully it's not going to be one that just we hang our heads in shame because of all of the woes that are around Hull City at the current pressing time, especially within this defensive lineup. So table-wise, I've been talking about it. it. Stoke's currently sitting in second. Hull City is sitting in 11th following the loss on Tuesday night. But don't let that phase you too much, because we are still 2 points off 6th. The league is so tight from really mid-table up to the top 2, really. We're 5 points there off Stoke, who are currently sitting in second. We're 2 points off the top 6. It's very much, results will sway loads of different ways, and we could even bound up into the mid-playoff places following a win tomorrow. So that's how tight the league is at the moment. Of course, you're looking there at the goals scored and goals against. Both teams have had a really similar goals scoring time. Of course, Hull City, I believe, are joint second in the league for most goals. Of course, joint with Ipswich Town, and of course, Coventry City are leading the line. So it's been quite good on that aspect for Hull City. Stoke City haven't been doing too bad themselves, but of course, the defensive wise, it's been a completely different tale of the book. Whereas Hull City have conceded 29 goals this season, and Stoke City have only conceded 12. Now that's working at less than 1 goal conceded per game, which is quite good. Of course, that's a plus 13 goal difference is meaning the reason why they are in second. They're currently tied on points with Middlesbrough in third. So player to watch out for, it's the big man Sorba Thomas. Now, Sorba Thomas, familiar name to all Hull City fans' ears, I'm sure. Of course, formerly of Huddersfield, went to Nantes last season. And in last season's January transfer window and progressing on into the summer, it was looking like Sorba Thomas was maybe actually going to be making a move to Hull City. He was trying to usher things on from his end of things, and Hull City were also trying to usher things on from their end of things. And certainly in the summer, it was quite kind of trying to progress on. I did quite a few videos on the channel about Sorba Thomas maybe becoming a Tiger, and it looks like it would have been a fantastic deal if it did come off, because he has had a fantastic run of times with Stoke City. He's in 17 championship fixtures this season. He's got 11 goal contributions. That's 6 goals, 5 assists, and 1 assist and 2 goals coming in the last match against Charlton Athletic. He contributed with all 3 goals there, an assist and 2 goals in their last time out. And of course, has been doing quite consistent in their match performances as of recent, or pretty much all season long, grabbing the assists, grabbing the goals, and has been an ever-present player for Stoke City in that attacking lineup. So certainly a player to watch out for in this one, and hopefully it's not another one that has sailed by Hull City, not able to make that signing for Sorba Thomas, and he comes around to come and bite us in the rear end, so to speak. So, score prediction, I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I think this is going to be a step in the right direction for Hull City. Of course, a draw on a away game is a very, very good result, and certainly a draw against a side like Stoke City would be a very, very good result in its own right. A 2-2 draw to try and get Hull City back on track, and we'll see what can happen next weekend as we face off back at the MKM Stadium, but trying to step away from the negative results that we've been having and hold out a Stoke City side for a 2-2 draw at their ground would be a very, very good result for the Tigers. Goals coming through, Joe Gelhardt, of course, it's Joe Gelhardt again, and a fantastic goal from substitute Mohamed Baloumi. I think Mohamed Baloumi might get amongst the goals, and of course there is a conversation to be had that Mohamed Baloumi could come into the starting lineup in replace of maybe a Kyle Joseph or someone like that, but I think Hull City will still be trying to take their time, not rushing him back to starting a game, with the risk, of course, having him going out injured for a 3rd time this season. So that photo of Sergei Kirich means that you have to let me know down in the comments what your predictions ahead of this game, who you think will win, what you think the result line will be. Hopefully it's going to be a Hull City win and or a draw. I mean, I've gone for a draw as well, so a draw is accepted in this scenario. Let me know who you think will score as well for the Tigers, and you can kind of let me know who you want us to think will score for Stoke City. And don't forget to make sure you stay tuned on the channel by liking and subscribing to keep up to date with everything Hull City. Of course, I'll have my reaction video after the game tomorrow, so make sure to stay tuned on the channel by liking and subscribing so you do not miss out on that, plus so much more Hull City content as this season, well, it's taken another turn in the storybooks, but hopefully we can get things back on track, and hopefully Sergei Kirich's Barmy Army will start picking up the results, possibly starting in tomorrow's 12:30 kickoff. I'll see you in the next video. Up the Tigers!